It's the morning of day 4. I saw the biggest cockroach I've ever seen crawling up the side of my tent last night. And I've lived in Florida my whole life. I was born and raised here, so I'm no stranger to cockroaches. But this was the biggest Jeffrey I have ever seen. And hell, I didn't even want to get out to pee in the middle of the night. And then I woke up in the morning to about 1,000 mosquitoes just in between the rain fly and the actual tent. And I definitely didn't want to get out either. This was my least favorite place to stay so far. And it has a weird smell. It rained hard all night. I don't know if the rain had something to do with it, but between the bugs and the rain and then going through the muck to get here, I am ready to be somewhere other than this island. I'm I'm ready to sit back in my kayak for 8 hours. But yeah, crappiest campsite so far. Yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you guys. Consist of me double fisting these applesauces. I've grown very fond of these on this trip, and I'm actually eating tomorrow's today because that's typically what I do. I ration myself food and then I end up just blowing it. But yeah, these things about to kill it. Quick, easy, 60 calories in each one. Done. Never brought applesauce on my trips before because it's slightly heavy, but I'm starting to regret that decision now. So after a couple days of doing this is day 4. You come to notice some things that happen. First one being that when you get to your campsite at night or whenever you get out of the boat that you're doing like this, you're counterbalancing for swinging that paddle all day, and your body doesn't know that you're not swinging the paddle, so you're sitting there moving back and forth like a crazy person without the straitjacket on. And you start falling into more of like a routine, like muscle memory. You know exactly where everything's at inside your boat at all times. And when it comes time to break camp and set up camp, it's just a smoother, easier process. But it takes a couple days to get there, at least for me in my experience. And the other cool thing, usually about day 3, after day 3, is your muscles know what you're doing. The first day, your body's saying, why are you doing this to me? The second day, your muscles are sore from the first day. And the third day, you're kind of in the middle. But by day 4, you get in that boat and your arms are saying, where are we going? And there's something interesting that I noticed in the course of doing some of these trips. Figured I'd share it with you guys. The more you know, the better you are, right? Something like that. Heck, I don't know. great white pelican. There's some big birds. We got smokers at 2 o'clock. The jet ski gang. Man, are they cool. Made it to the St. Augustine Fort, day 4. Made it here by 2 o'clock. Probably at the halfway point on this trip. Stoked would be an understatement. Overfilled with gratitude is probably more the words for this feeling. It's like the day that'll never end. It's actually the morning of day 5, and the wind has picked up significantly. Almost snapped a tent pole. Had to get out in the rain and drag the kayak in front of the tent and guy out the tent 2 different places to the kayak to keep it from blowing away. I'm going to try to get another hour of sleep, and hopefully this wind lays down a little bit. If not, we are not leaving the island until it does. It's definitely hitting 20, 25 right now. The tent's just whipping around. It is always an adventure. Let me tell you what. Never a dull moment. Well, made it to the mouth of the Moultrie Creek. My uncle lives on the water here, so I am gonna pick up my food. I got 5 days worth of food and water stashed here at his house. So actually 5 days worth of food, not water. stashed at his house. I'm gonna go up there, maybe charge some of my devices, and pick up my food and get back on the water. Gonna shoot for maybe Matanzas Inlet. Day 5, hitting that food resupply. Just got to the Moultrie Creek dock and walking up to my uncle's house to get my food for 5 more days, and then we're gonna get back in the water, do it again. Pretty nice to be walking after using your arms as a mode of transportation for a while. It's good for your back, good for your legs. That's why every day I want to get to the island, I try to walk around, stretch my legs a little bit. Good deal. Dragging the kayak back down to the water from my uncle's house. Didn't feel safe leaving it there while I did my water up and food up. So now we're dragging it back down to the water. Pretty stoked. Coming up on my 3rd fort. I know that you probably can't see it, but to the left of the screen is Fort Matanzas Inlet. And to the right is the ICW. That is the smaller fort that kind of helps defend the bigger fort that we were at yesterday in St. Augustine. So it's pretty cool to get to see 3 forts in one paddle. To you. Day 6, approaching the 100-mile mark today. Florida kayak camping guy coming to you with another pro tip. If you're trying to make as many miles as possible in a day, especially on a multi-day trip, what I suggest you do in the morning when you pack up your tent is put every single thing that you need either behind you, under your seat, in your back hatch, so that as you're paddling you don't have to stop and get out of the boat when you want to drink. It allows you to make more time, more miles in less time, I should say, and it just makes things go smoother. Every time you got to get in and out of the boat, open them hatches, it's sucking up your time. And that's one way that I've found to be able to cover as many miles as I do in a day. Coming up on the Flagler 100 bridge, going over from the mainland to the peninsula here in Flagler Beach, Florida. Day 6, doing pretty good, approaching that 100-mile mark soon. Left camp about 9 this morning and made about 10 miles, 15 miles almost so far here, so doing pretty good. But feeling pretty good to be approaching Ormond Beach, which was my destination. And yeah, I just figured I'd take this opportunity while the wind wasn't blowing to shoot a little video and let you guys know where I'm at. Beautiful day. Whoa. I'm going to show you guys what I do when I typically take a lunch break. I'm on day 6 right now and it's about 12:30. Stretched my legs a little bit, found a good little beach. I don't always take a lunch, but when I do, I typically will try to make the most of it and multitask if I can. It also helps me stretch out and move around. Sometimes there's nowhere really to walk around. This place, there's actually a cool little beach, and I did my thing, always looking for buoys and stuff like that, or trash I can pick up and try to help the environment. But one of the main things I do is try to dry out any gear. Even though you got stuff in dry hatches, the temperature change, especially on a day like this, we went from, like, you know, in the 50s, 60s to warming up a little bit, and it will create its own condensation sometimes, I found. Or you put something in there that's slightly damp, and I'm just gonna show you guys kind of what I do. It looks like a mess, looks like I'm having a yard sale out of my kayak, but dry out the jacket, usually hang my shirt on a paddle. I always joke around about the sock dryer 2000 because that's a thing when you only bring 2 pairs of socks, you want to keep one dry. So yeah, that's how we roll. You know, like I said, looking like a garage sale. These people on the other side of the river are probably thinking, oh god, that guy's moving in over there. Geez, brought everything. But yeah, it's just kind of what I do and how I do it. Saves time and keeps your stuff dry, which is important. Just by the nature of the sport, things are going to be wet, you're going to be wet. So it's a constant battle to try to dry everything out. And this is just the best way I found to do it. I even strapped my sponge to the front and let her dry a little bit. That way I can soak it up and keep the inside of that boat clean. Because you guys know, it's good for morale. Look at that. I've been in there for 6 days. Pretty easy. And it's kind of like making your bed in the morning, just makes you feel good. If you're like me, at least, makes you feel good when you slide in and out of there, or you drop your phone. It's not sitting in a, you know, this much muck and sand and stuff that you've gathered along the way. But appreciate you guys tuning in. Just hit 100 miles. Not gonna lie, feels pretty good. It's a big accomplishment. Just made it to Gamble Rogers, South Flagler here, and like I said, I'm feeling pretty good. Super grateful and good emotionally and physically. They're both super important. It's about to get a little bumpy here if this boat don't slow down. Got a big old yacht rolling in, and it does not look like he's slowing down. So might be a good time to show you how to take a decent sized wake on. Good time to put your seatbelt on, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1, number 2, which will be worse. Boom. And that's how you roll. Big old yacht. Saw my mom. Yeah, officially paddling on my home turf right now. Looks like I'm passing old Pump House Road on my right, Mocha State Park. Coming up on the Bicentennial Islands that probably got me started in doing this kind of thing. Going out there for short overnight trips in the kayak camping, and a couple years later, here we are. Kind of how I go. I'm either all in or not. But it's a pretty good feeling to know this waterway, beautiful place that I call home, Ormond Beach, Florida. Probably about 110 miles maybe so far from the start. Day 6 coming to an end. It's about 4:30. Got another hour and a half for daylight. It's a good ride, people. If you've never done it, you should try it. Made it to Ormond Beach. Whoop whoop! 120 miles in 6 days. My mom met me at High Bridge to exchange some batteries. I know I said it was going to be an unsupported trip, but I definitely needed some batteries so I could keep filming this for you guys. And she surprised me with a whole loaf of pepperoni bread. Homemade bread filled with cheese, pepperoni, fresh out of the oven. Couldn't think of a better way to celebrate than eating a whole loaf of pepperoni bread, watching the sun go down on my favorite island in my favorite town. Love you, Mom. Oh, you want to see the sunset? Here. No shortage of beautiful sunsets.